Hey, Ryan.
Josh, how's it going, man?
How are you?
Good, man. Good.
What you working on?
Just get some stuff together for a project we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mind if I pick your brain about some stuff?
Anytime, buddy. What do you want?
Cool. I want to know the 5 materials that you use to make prosthetic applications.
Awesome, dude. All right. Let's do it. I'd say there's about 4 or 5 different materials we've used over the years. Regular latex, Prosaide transfers, silicone, gelatin, and foam latex. All right, so let's start with the pros and cons of latex. Pros to it, not a lot of pros to regular latex, but it's a very cheap material. It's good for doing types of build-up makeups, different things. It's good to build up on top of other types of prosthetic appliances. But for the most part, I would say it's the weakest out of all 5 materials I listed. Cons of it is people have allergies to latex. If you build a prosthetic appliance out of latex, it's too thick. It's hard to blend the edge away. It's not as flexible as these other materials as well on the skin. So if you need movement, different types of movement, facial movement, it's not going to work so well for that. But once again, it's cheap. It's good for theatrical Halloween stuff. It's easy for kids to use. When it comes to something like foam latex, pros to that is it's lightweight. It's very breathable, so your skin can breathe and sweat through it. You can build very large things with it. So you can build giant creature suits and different things that require a lot of bulk and very big things, so it won't be so heavy. It won't weigh people down. Another pro to it actually, it's very easy to blend off into the skin if you have nice feathery pieces. Cons to it, people have allergies to latex. It's opaque when it's run, so if you have to have something that looks like skin or translucent, you have to paint it to look that way. So it takes a skilled artist to paint that and layer it to create a translucency. Another con to foam latex is you need a shop atmosphere. You need it to be well ventilated. You need an oven that you will not bake food in ever again because you'll poison people.
Subscribe now.
You need some mixers, same thing. And yeah, just well ventilation for that. And that'll bring me to silicone next. It already has a translucency to it, so it mimics skin tone really well. Skin has translucency built into it already, so you can see layers of pigment and different flecks and freckles and veins through your skin when the light hits it right? So you can build that into silicone. It's something you can intrinsic color. So when I was talking about foam latex, you have to extrinsic color. You have to paint on the surface, where silicone you intrinsic color to begin with, which means is you add color to the mixture. So you already have a color, so you can build how opaque or translucent you want it to be. You can also paint the surface of it afterwards as well. It makes hyper-realistic makeups. You can really build hyper-realistic looking things such as old age makeups. It's very convincing with silicone. Cons to silicone is you can't really blend the edge away. So a lot of times when we build things, you have to encapsulate it. So visualize a sandwich. You have your encapsulator, which is the bread, and the silicone is the meat. And it's the encapsulator that you blend into the skin, not the silicone. So when you sculpt appliances for silicone appliances, you have to make your edges paper thin, and you'll never really be able to blend that silicone edge nicely into the skin. So you're using an encapsulator, using the bread part of it to blend into the skin. If you go really, really big and large with appliances, it gets heavy, so it can really weigh the face down, weigh the actors down. When you're dealing with something like crazy big makeups and you want to build in the silicone, you have to have some kind of understructure built into it. You have to essentially put a helmet on someone if you're going to do something really large, and then build the makeup on top of something like that. So you can't go so big with it unless you have some kind of understructure to support the weight of it. Otherwise, it'll weigh the actor's face down, it'll slosh and fall off the face. So that's another reason why foam latex is used for a lot of bigger things, because it's lightweight and you can go really big with it and not need that support structure under it. Another con to silicone is it's very expensive in comparison to something like foam latex. You get amazing results with both. It just depends on the artistry, the level of the artist, right? The next one, we're on number 4 now.
Yeah, gelatin, I believe.
Gelatin, yeah. So gelatin, pros to it, very cheap. You can buy most of those materials in a grocery store to make that, or a drugstore. It's very similar to silicone where it's translucent already. So you paint it the same, you intrinsic color it, and you can surface paint it. You can get good translucency with gelatin as well. The cons to it's the same idea as silicone where you can't go so big with it because it's heavy and way down the face. It's also made out of animal-based products as well, so it's not good for vegan actors. Heat and sweat are its worst enemies. The hot days, it's not gonna last. It's gonna melt. Gelatin's gonna melt away. The main pro of it is it's very cheap and you can make it at home. You don't need a shop atmosphere. You can make it in your microwave at home, and it's all safe to make. Whereas something like foam latex, you need an oven to bake it, and if you bake it in an oven, that oven is now strictly for foam latex. You can no longer cook food in that oven ever again. You'd poison people.
Subscribe now.
Okay, so but something like gelatin, you can cook that in your microwave and be just fine. And the last one, you'll hear the term Prosaide transfer or Bondo transfers. Basically, we take our adhesive glue we use called Prosaide, and we mix it with a filler, such as Cabasil, or we can also do different things where we whip the Prosaide and don't add any filler. We whip it until it's thick. We whip air into it in a blender or a mixer and just use that straight into a mold. Pros to it, very easy to make. You can make it at home. It's extremely durable when it comes to any kind of weather or elements or actors sweating or anything like that. It'll hold up more so than any of the other appliances I've listed. It's very easy to blend into the skin and make work. And if you have a bad edge, you can just use more Bondo itself to fix that edge. So it's really, really easy to fix any kind of mistakes in the prosthetic if there is one. It's very easy to paint. You can intrinsic paint it and extrinsic paint it. So you can paint the surface of it and also add color to it as well to pre-tint it. The two major cons with it is it can take days and days to dry. So you're looking at like almost a week dry time depending on the thickness of the piece. So if you have a time crunch, it's not the most ideal appliance to make. You want to use something faster, like silicone will set up. You can get silicone that sets up in 10 minutes to an hour, right? So you can have your appliances out in no time. Where this you got about a week's time to wait for it to dry. The other con to it is you can't build too thick with it because the Prosaide, when it dries, it will shrink a bit. And also if you go too thick, it's probably never going to dry, or it's going to take a month to dry, for example. So you can't build like crazy big facial appliances or makeup with it. You want to stick to smaller things like generic wounds and little eye bags for zombies or little cuts and bullet holes and stuff like that. So those are the 5 basic materials we've been using all these years to build different prosthetics, and you just kind of pick and choose your battles and what's going to work for the situation or scenario or elements you're working in. Put Sharp Effects Studio.
Thank you for all the information, Ryan.
No worries.
And I'll be off.
Anytime, Josh.